This is an open letter to the Sane Society with regards to TikTok. Folks, do you remember that in Soviet Union radios were banned? And the whole idea behind banning radio, even radios, forget about TV and forget about. I remember in the shithole that I was in, that was not even communist, but still the central government decides that they don't like the other guy's story, the way the other guys are telling the story. They don't like it, so they used to put what we call parasite, which means scratch this, fill that particular wavelength with a lot of uh, unwelcome noise to try to prevent you from hearing another side of the story. Prevent the not you, prevent the public from hearing the other side of the story. Well, not letting the public hear the other side of the story is not as good as idea that, hey, we are willing to debate our side of the story. You see what I'm saying? Not hearing another perspective about the issue, whatever the issue is not the solution. It's sort of like saying that, well, we have a saying in the shithole that I come from. We say going to the judge by yourself without whoever you're taking to court. Just going by yourself and preventing the other side to have representation in the court. You know, that's how shutting down TikTok, or in the way Soviet Union did it, you know, outlawing radios, or uh, creating some kind of a noise over the waves to prevent you from hearing the other story. Maybe the other story makes more sense, and that's the problem. That's the problem when the problem is when there are too many lies, then you become worried about the other side of the story. When there are too many lies, lie after lie after lie, then you become worried that maybe, maybe I should prevent my people from hearing the other side of the story, because, my lies will be clear. I will look real bad because, I said some shit that wasn't true. Yeah, it's as simple as that. It's sort of like that's base, and that basically comes from the fact that you basically are, you know, saying that don't worry, my public will not get it. If they don't hear it, they won't get it. Public, public eventually gets it. It's just that they're under normal circumstances they're too fearful, too worried to, say that they got it, they get it. Most of the time they're fearful, but believe me, the public gets it. Eventually gets it. The public is slow. We're not talking about geniuses here, but you know, eventually the public gets it. And maybe, you know, the story that we have been told is not, you know, is very biased. After you hear some, the story from other perspectives, then you realize that maybe the story that we were told is very biased. And eventually, I mean, look at Soviet Union. What happened? You can't. The Soviet Union lied for too long that the system works. that they lied for too long that the system works. That the guy said, the genius somewhere said, you know, communism is a great idea, but for the wrong society. Uh, Human society. They ask him about, what do you think of communism? He said, great idea, but wrong society, as in human society. It doesn't work. Apparently, he's a guy who studies ant colonies and bee colonies. So he's a biologist studying these colonies, realizing that yeah, it's a great idea if for bee colony, not for humans. So the idea is that it wasn't working, but these guys, by preventing the conversation from coming into the system from outside, by preventing that, they want to continue with the lie that the system is working, communism is working, and doesn't matter how much you lie. Eventually, if you know if it's if it can't produce, it's a male. You see what I'm saying? If it can't, you can lie as much as you want, but if it cannot reproduce, it's a male. If it can, if the evidence suggests otherwise, okay, you ban the radios and you ban TikTok. I'm talking about Soviet Union now. You banned radios or you ban TikTok, and then but when people go inside the store and find, you know, 1/10 of what used to be in the store from before the revolution, now there is 1/10 available in the store after the revolution, and that is, you know, that is uh, very little amount of it to go around. For year in, year out, decades, it's like no progress. We still have to do vodka and bread, and that showed itself. So, what if, they wouldn't say, we're not going. They would say we are not going to take away your radios. Then we will sit down with these capitalists and work something out. And we don't need to put up walls. I mean, look at this. I mean, you can compare a lot the Berlin Wall and the southern border wall in the United States. That's Uncle Sam's managers are right now, very in very uh, at loggerheads about. It's this. It's a wall. A wall is a wall. You're trying to keep certain people out, or you're trying to keep certain people in. A wall is a wall. If you have to erect a wall, then you have a problem. The ideal situation is no walls. The more insecure the society feels, or is, the higher you have to make your walls. If you have to make your walls really high, then you're not living in a nice society. You're not living on a nice planet. Then you have to find out why, where are the shortcomings that so many humans have to move so often between countries and continents in search of bread. Let's be frank, 99% of it, they're in search of bread. Bread. So find out why I mean, yes, there was, somebody said on NPR, somebody says, yeah, movement and immigration is part of, humanity has always been. Yes, we know. But it doesn't need to be. You see, the birds immigrate because, the birds immigrate because the conditions become unlivable. no food, so they immigrate. In 21st century of your last Lord and Savior, after the death of your last Lord and Savior, 2000 years have passed. Do you think it's time that you establish a system on Earth that makes the environment for all people everywhere okay enough so they don't have to migrate like fucking birds? This is the problem. We have to have the last say because of our religion or race or culture. We have to have the last say, even if we have to bomb the crap out of you motherfuckers. You see what I'm saying? This idea that the West, the NATO has had, that we have to have the last say, even if that means bomb the crap out of you motherfuckers. And we're talking about Vietnam and Laos and Cambodia to all these dictators that were installed and all other wars in Africa. All of these is basically the idea that we people from another continent know better than you motherfucking natives. So you either let us have the last say until, or we're going to bomb you from air and ground or whatever. We're going to do that to make sure you understand that we have the last say. That's most of these wars is all about. It's not about capitalism, it's not about democracy, it's not about Christianity, it's not about race. Well, it comes down to race. People from northern hemisphere mostly trying to, have the last say in the southern hemisphere. We are going to have the last say in Nicaragua, even if we have to replace multiple of your presidents, of your leadership. Even if we have to replace multiple of your leadership, as soon as they get out of line, they don't dance the way we tell them to dance, we're going to get rid of them one way or another soon. And the ones we like, we keep them for a long time. We love them for a long time. What was the president of Filipino, the father of this cocksucker? There was another cocksucker who was a dictator, but he was apparently president. He wasn't a dictator, he was a president approved by collective West of Filipino for what, 20 years, 30 years? and and now his son is back. It's sort of like, and his son is probably going to be in that position for next 30 years because or unless you want to go to war with Uncle Sam's managers. It's either our guy or it's not democracy. Uh, and this is the situation with TikTok. And the situation with TikTok is coming out people, and folks, by banning TikTok, the problem is not going to be solved. Just like Soviet Union problems was not solved by banning radio. Eventually, when they sat down and look at their pocket and they saw their pockets are empty, there is nothing in the safe, and although our people are brilliant, they are sitting around doing nothing because there is not that nudge of that the society needs, that greedy nudge needs to be present, so people look after their self-interest so the fucking society may move along. And eventually they came clear. Gorbachev was basically the guy who came clear, had a moment of clarity and said, hey, it's not working. My pocket is empty, yours is empty, and our people are sitting around because nobody likes to work for anybody else. Everybody even if it's pretend, they want to pretend that they're working for their own interests because we're still monkeys. What do you want me to say? So my point is this. My point is this. You shall not, should not even think of banning TikTok because what is next? Then another app comes out of Malaysia called Tik, and Malaysia has a large Chinese population too. So maybe some of their engineers are Chinese in Malaysia, who they're Malaysian Chinese, just like you have African Americans, they have Malaysian Chinese. Just like you have Irish American, you have Malaysian Chinese. So what? Most of Southeast Asia are filled with large pockets of very well, you know, rooted Chinese minority in the society. Now what? Start hate and see if we can get those countries fighting each other, have civil war because it benefits us. You see what folks? You know, it's very it's unhealthy. The way CIA thinks that our win is worth any price for them. This is how CIA looks at things. This is how this pink skin structure of J.P. Morgan and Rockefellers and central banks, and this system has been put together, and the whole system is basically saying either we win or we burn the fucking thing down. Like Gaza is what's happening now. It's like we win or we burn it down. Which one do you want? We win or we burn it, kill you all and burn it down. Either you give us the land peacefully or we kill you and burn it down and then take it over, then clean it, sanitize it, and do our own thing with it. Oh. No, I'm sorry. That's why the TikTok thing is really bad idea. There is tomorrow Malaysian Tik, and the day after Indonesian Nik, and the day after maybe Nigerian Ik. You want to ban them all one by one, sort of like basically say, oh no, you have to. It's like made in USA, but propaganda. Made in USA. You have to only consume our propaganda. You cannot consume anybody else's perspective or propaganda or whatever. No, you can have debates. No, neither one has to be propaganda. I mean, debate is where. But if you're not willing to debate the motherfucker, Osama bin Laden, bad guy, very bad guy. As human being, should we be allowed to hear the motherfucker before execution? I mean, the last thing, apparently the nail in the coffin of TikTok, the nail in the coffin apparently was Osama bin Laden's letter to Americans were, read on TikTok, and that's somehow the last nail in the coffin. So there was no trial. You caught the guy, you killed the guy, you throw him to the fishes, literally gangster style. This is throw a dead body into the ocean is the ultimate gangster. Gangsters? The reason they kill like that, because they don't want to go to the court with the guy. You know why gangsters kill people like that and throw them in the ocean? Because the guy who was dead is dead. They don't want his story to be told because they are worried, that gangster worries that if that story of this cocksucker is heard, maybe people want to question me. Authorities would want to question me about his why I killed him. So, and maybe I don't look good, so come out looking good. Maybe I will end up in jail or executed. So, but the idea is the gangster is on the wrong, has done something bad to the guy. The guy doesn't want to take it up the ass anymore, and the gangster shoots him and throws him in the ocean. Or else he would be debating him. If he wasn't a gangster, he would be debating him. And everybody could hear the debate and make up their own mind. That's where TikTok comes in. Put up your own debate. But nope, nothing. No, no, no. The other guys should shut up. No, no, no. He should shut up. We are not debating anybody. We are not talking to Putin. We are not talking to China. We are not talking to Mina. We are not talking to anybody who doesn't come here to take it up the ass. We don't want to talk to them. Salute to the Sane Society.